Ask yourself, are the relationships around you like a vibrant garden, overflowing with colors and fragrances that nourish your soul? Or are they like overgrown weeds, blocking the light and leaving you lost in the shadows? If this question troubles you, let the philosophy of Stoicism be your guide. Stoicism is not just a shield to face adversity, but also a refined art of living, a melodious symphony for the soul, helping you recognize and cherish true values, cultivate meaningful relationships, and courageously let go of what no longer brings happiness. In life, we inevitably encounter and build relationships with various people. However, not all relationships bring us joy and happiness. There are toxic relationships that we need to identify and sever to protect our mental and emotional well-being. In today's video, we will explore the signs of toxic relationships and why cutting ties with them is so important. Join me on a stroll through the garden of Stoic philosophy, where you will learn how to transform your own soul's garden into a paradise filled with light and fragrance. Together, we will uproot negative weeds and plant the seeds of love, gratitude, and freedom. Don't hesitate any longer. Hit the subscribe button today so you don't miss upcoming videos. Let's embark on a journey of self-discovery, seeking true peace and happiness, because you deserve a beautiful life where your soul is always nurtured and shines brightly. Let's begin and equip ourselves with the necessary knowledge to live a positive and fulfilling life. Some relationships may initially offer warmth and closeness, but gradually transform into a simmering nightmare, eroding your soul and well-being. These are toxic relationships, where you constantly feel suffocated, anxious, and insecure, yet unable to break free. The other person, through subtle manipulation, controls your psyche, making you doubt yourself, lose confidence, and gradually lose your sense of self. Failing to recognize and end these relationships early can lead to severe consequences, not only mentally but also physically. Deep wounds can haunt you for a long time, making you afraid to open up to new relationships. Humans are social beings. We need relationships to connect, share, and grow. Love, friendship, professional connections, and family ties are the invisible threads that bind us to the world around us. Through these relationships, we feel loved, supported, and empowered to overcome life's challenges. However, not all relationships are beneficial. Some people, instead of uplifting and inspiring you, drag you down into the abyss of negativity and unhappiness. They might be friends who constantly criticize and belittle you, colleagues who envy and resent your success, or even family members who impose their will and control you. To protect yourself from negative influences, you need to learn to recognize and avoid toxic people. Below are 10 types of people you should limit contact with, or ideally cut ties with completely. Remember, you deserve healthy relationships that bring you joy, support, and help you grow. Don't let toxic relationships rob you of your happiness and peace. Sign 1. People who carry negative energy. There are people who, like sudden storms, bring with them a whirlwind of negative emotions, leaving you feeling drained and exhausted. They are easily angered, lose their composure, and unreasonably vent their anger on those around them. Why should you be the one to endure their childish and uncontrolled outbursts? Everyone faces difficult times, but mature individuals know how to confront them with calmness and restraint. Striving for self-control is not only a challenge, but also a way for us to cultivate mental strength and find solutions to problems. Sometimes listening and sharing can help others release their emotions, but that doesn't mean you have to become a punching bag for their unwarranted anger. Hot-tempered, impulsive individuals often have low emotional intelligence and don't know how to manage their feelings. They can inflict unnecessary pain on you and those around them. Remember, you have the right to choose the relationships you surround yourself with. Don't let negative and uncontrolled people take up your precious time and space. Spend time with those who bring positive energy, who know how to listen, understand, and respect you. Life is too short to waste on unhealthy relationships. Be brave enough to say no to emotional storms and open your arms to the warm rays of love and genuine sharing. Sign 2. Chronic blamers. The second red flag I want you to be wary of are those who constantly see the faults in others, but never in themselves. They're like masterful blame shifters, chameleons who change colors to blend in with their surroundings, but never admit their own mistakes. For them, every failure, every misstep is someone else's fault. Colleagues didn't provide enough support. Friends misunderstood. Family didn't create the right conditions. It seems like the whole world is to blame, except for them. They perpetually play the victim, seeking sympathy and making excuses for their irresponsible actions. Being around such people can leave you feeling exhausted and helpless. You'll constantly be subjected to their complaints and baseless accusations. Gradually, you might even start to doubt yourself, wondering if you've done something wrong. But remember, blaming others is a sign of weakness and immaturity. A mature person will face their mistakes, learn from them, and strive to do better in the future. These blame shifters are merely trying to evade the truth and protect their fragile egos. So, be wary of these individuals. Don't let them drag you into their vortex of negativity and blame. Maintain a safe distance, or better yet, avoid them altogether. Because no one can guarantee that one day you won't become their next victim, stabbed in the back without mercy. Remember, you deserve to be surrounded by responsible people who are willing to share and overcome difficulties with you. Don't let these blame shifters affect your life and happiness. Be brave and walk your own path, building healthy and positive relationships. Sign 3. People who deceive you. Deception is accomplished by words and sometimes also by silence. Adrienne Rich's words serve as a stark reminder of the fragility of trust and the wounds that dishonesty can inflict. There are people who, like elaborate masks, conceal their true nature beneath a facade of perfection. They may swear to keep your secrets, only to turn your confidences into gossip for the world to hear. They may paint heart-wrenching tales of hardship to borrow money, then vanish like smoke, leaving you with disappointment and hurt. This dishonesty and unreliability extend beyond broken promises and financial deception. It manifests in everyday lies, insincere compliments, and empty promises they never intend to keep. Gradually, these actions erode your trust, leaving you living in a state of suspicion and unease. Such individuals do not deserve a place in your life. They lack the fundamental qualities of a true friend: honesty, sincerity, and trustworthiness. They only bring you negative emotions, disappointment, and loss. Don't let their masks of deception cloud your vision. Be brave enough to face the truth, even if it's painful, and learn to let go of unhealthy relationships. Because only when you free yourself from the shackles of deceit can you find true peace and happiness. Sign 4. People who take advantage of you. There's a type of person, like wolves in sheep's clothing, who hides behind a friendly facade but is always looking for opportunities to exploit you. They don't care about your feelings or interests, seeing you only as a tool to achieve their own goals. One of their common tactics is to exploit your connections. They'll try to pry information about important people you know or seek to access them through you. They might use sweet talk, exaggerated stories, or even outright lies to create a positive image of themselves and undermine others, all to serve their own agenda. For example, when you're looking for a new job, they might tell horror stories about the company, the difficult boss, or the terrible colleagues, hoping you'll give up the opportunity and leave it for them. Or they might feign interest in you, listening to your concerns, but in reality, they're just trying to extract personal information or weaknesses to use against you later. These opportunists are experts at exploiting the kindness and trust of others. They won't hesitate to ask for favors or demand your help, but rarely reciprocate. They're always looking to get more than they give and never feel remorse or gratitude. Being around such people will leave you feeling used and disrespected. You'll gradually lose trust in others and become more guarded and withdrawn. So, be vigilant and recognize the signs of these opportunists. Don't let your kindness be taken advantage of, and don't let these toxic relationships affect your life. Be brave enough to say no to them, and dedicate your time to those who genuinely care about and value you. Sign 5. People who are constantly stressed. Did you know that we humans are, in a way, programmed to think negatively and constantly worry about safety, health, and survival? From an anthropological perspective, this makes perfect sense. Ever since our ancestors first appeared on Earth, life has been a relentless struggle for survival. However, what's surprising is how these primal anxieties still cling to us today, becoming an inseparable part of modern life. It's not hard to encounter people who are perpetually living in a state of stress and anxiety. Statistics show that 75–90% of doctor visits are related to stress-related issues. And science has proven that prolonged stress not only affects our physical health but also negatively impacts our brain and behavior. In a life already filled with pressure, having to constantly interact with people who are always stressed and pessimistic can drain us mentally. They are like dark clouds, constantly spreading negative energy and making us feel uneasy and anxious. Therefore, to protect our mental health, sometimes we need to learn to keep a distance from these individuals. This doesn't mean turning our backs on them, but rather knowing how to protect ourselves from their negative influence. We can choose to limit our interactions or, when conversing, try to focus on positive topics and avoid getting caught up in their cycle of complaints and pessimism. What about you? Have you ever had to deal with people who are constantly stressed and negative? What did you do to protect yourself from their harmful influence? Share your experiences so we can learn and support each other. Sign 6. People who constantly insult you. A relationship is considered toxic when it ceases to be a safe and nurturing space, instead becoming a battlefield of insults, humiliation, and disdain. When someone you trust and deeply care for consistently subjects you to verbal abuse, insults, and even threats, it's a clear sign of a toxic relationship. This constant mental assault can deeply wound you, making you question your self-worth and gradually eroding your confidence. You might start to believe that you are truly useless and incompetent, just as they say. Their insults, like sharp knives, cut into your soul, leaving scars that are hard to heal. This is one of the most common and characteristic signs of a toxic relationship. When you're with this person, you can't be yourself. You're constantly battling inner turmoil and haunted by their harsh words. This continuous emotional abuse can push you into a state of depression, causing you to lose faith in life and yourself. If you're in such a relationship, Remember that you don't deserve to endure it. You deserve to be loved, respected, and valued. Be brave and step away from that toxic relationship. Seek help from loved ones or a mental health professional if needed. Because only when you escape the darkness of hurt can you find the light of true happiness and freedom. Sign 7. People who want to control you. One of the most glaring red flags of a toxic relationship is excessive control, where the other person seeks to turn you into a puppet in their hands. Every step, every breath, every thought of yours is monitored, supervised, and manipulated in a subtle way. From managing your schedule, social relationships, and work, to even the smallest personal interests and needs, they try to infiltrate every corner of your life, like an octopus spreading its tentacles. This control can be disguised in various forms. Sometimes it appears as sweet words and excessive gestures of care, leading you to mistake it for deep love. But hidden beneath that facade is selfish possessiveness, a desire to turn you into their exclusive property. They may constantly ask you where you are, what you're doing, and who you're with, checking your phone, messages, and emails without your consent. They might prevent you from seeing friends and family or participating in any activities they can't control. They may even resort to threats, unwarranted jealousy, or even emotional and physical abuse to instill fear and make you comply with their wishes. This control doesn't stop at everyday behaviors. It can also seep into your finances. They may demand detailed reports of your spending, or even take complete control of your finances. They might make you feel guilty or ashamed for spending money on yourself, turning money into a tool for manipulation and control. Gradually, this control will suffocate your spirit, robbing you of your freedom and independence. You'll no longer dare to do what you enjoy or express yourself naturally and authentically. You'll live in fear, always second-guessing your words and actions just to avoid upsetting them. Your life will become a beautiful but suffocating gilded cage where you lose yourself. If you find yourself trapped in such a relationship, remember that true love is not about control, but about mutual respect and trust. You have the right to live your own life, to make your own choices and decisions. Don't let anyone take away that precious freedom. Be brave, seek help if needed, and step out of that toxic relationship. Because you deserve a healthy love where you can be yourself and be loved for who you are. Sign 8. Those who disrespect your interests. We are each unique individuals with our own hobbies, passions, and dreams. These are the unique colors that paint the vibrant picture of our lives. In any relationship, be it romantic, friendship, or familial, respect for these individualities is the foundation for building and maintaining a healthy and sustainable connection. Respecting others is also how we show respect for ourselves. A relationship lacking respect, like a garden deprived of sunlight and water, will gradually wither and die. Even worse, it can turn into a toxic environment that stifles the growth of both individuals. Therefore, when your hobbies, passions, or even small personal needs are ignored, belittled, or even ridiculed by the other person, consider it a red flag. This lack of respect opens the door for insults, controlling behavior, and manipulation, leaving you feeling demeaned and unappreciated. A toxic relationship will constantly limit your freedom, suppressing your passions and dreams. The other person may try to impose their will, set conditions, or even use offensive language to make you give up what you love. You'll feel suffocated, tired, and helpless, like a bird trapped in a gilded cage, robbed of its free song. Remember, you deserve to be with people who appreciate the true you, who support and encourage you to pursue your passions, Don't let anyone extinguish the flame of enthusiasm within you. If you're in a relationship where your interests are not respected, be brave enough to speak up and defend your worth. Sometimes, walking away from a toxic relationship is the way to liberate yourself, allowing your wings to soar freely and find true happiness. Sign 9, the two-faced. They appear friendly on the surface, but harbor envy and malice within. They constantly seek to undermine you, belittling everything you do, whether through thoughts or words. No matter what you achieve, they'll find a way to mock it, downplay its value, and make you feel undeserving. They don't just do this to you, but to everyone around them. From your clothes and the way you talk to your friends and family, everything can become a target for their attacks. The main goal of these two-faced individuals is to attack your self-esteem, making you doubt yourself and lose confidence. They understand that self-confidence and belief in oneself are crucial for achieving success. When you lack these two things, it becomes difficult to overcome challenges and reach your goals. That's why they're called mind bullies, because they try to weaken your spirit and emotions. Not only do they belittle others, but they also constantly impose their own prejudices, toxic beliefs, and subjective opinions on others. If you spend too much time with them, their fears, insecurities, and limited beliefs will gradually erode your own spirit. This is what makes them the most dangerous kind of people, because they thrive on the misery of others. You cannot afford to be around a two-faced person, so avoid them at all costs. It's often said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If this is true, you can't afford to invest your time in people who are detrimental to you and your goals. By avoiding two-faced individuals, you not only increase your chances of success, but also ensure continuous growth in all areas of your life. Choose your relationships wisely. Cultivate positive and healthy connections so you can shine and achieve the greatest things in life. Sign 10, the arrogant. In this diverse world, we inevitably encounter individuals who possess an excessive amount of arrogance. They are like shooting stars blazing across the sky, radiating a dazzling aura and believing themselves to be the center of attention. However, their inflated egos blind them to their own flaws and their true place in the world, always assuming they are the best, the smartest, and deserving of special treatment. This arrogance often accompanies a contemptuous and disrespectful attitude towards others. They dismiss the opinions of others, ignore advice or criticism, considering it an insult to their inflated sense of self. They never admit their mistakes, always finding a way to blame circumstances or others. This attitude hinders their learning and growth and also makes it difficult for them to build genuine and lasting relationships. Stoic philosophy warns us about the dangers of arrogance. It not only isolates us and alienates us from others, but also prevents us from seeing ourselves objectively, thus hindering our personal growth and development. Instead of being arrogant, we should learn to be humble and listen. Remember, everyone has their own strengths and weaknesses. Learning from others not only expands our knowledge, but also helps us become better versions of ourselves. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have no right to judge others. Their nature is their responsibility. Their character has become what it is due to the compulsion of character and circumstance." Let's appreciate the diversity and differences of each person, and always remember that humility is one of the most valuable virtues of a human being. In their own eyes, arrogant individuals always stand at the pinnacle, looking down on others with disdain. They are proud of all their achievements, no matter how big or small, and consider them irrefutable proof of their superiority. They are not only complacent with what they have, but also constantly compare themselves to others, seeking validation and satisfaction from the belief that they are better than everyone else. However, those who follow Stoic philosophy understand that arrogance is merely an illusion, a mask that conceals deep-seated insecurity and a lack of self-confidence. After all, if they were truly confident in themselves, why would they need to constantly prove it to others? Arrogance is just a fragile shell, easily shattered by criticism or failure. Furthermore, arrogance is a major obstacle on the path of self-development. Arrogant people often fail to recognize their shortcomings, so they lack the motivation to learn and improve. They ignore valuable advice, refuse help, and isolate themselves from those who could help them progress. A prolonged toxic relationship is akin to a slow-acting poison, silently eroding your mental health. Each day you feel increasingly tired, negative, and desperate to escape, yet unsure of how to do so. Particularly in toxic romantic relationships, the emotional entanglement makes it even harder to break free, pushing you into a spiral of negativity and even depression if you don't recognize it in time. Sadly, many of us find it difficult to realize we're trapped in a toxic relationship. You might sense subtle signs or receive warnings from others, but you try to ignore them, deluding yourself that things will get better. It's usually only when the situation escalates, when the emotional or physical pain becomes unbearable, that you start seeking a way out. But by then, it's incredibly difficult. Toxic people are often masters of psychological manipulation, making it hard for their victims to escape their grasp. They constantly attack your weaknesses and insecurities, making you feel inferior and dependent, planting the idea that you can't achieve anything without them. They build an invisible wall around you, isolating you from the outside world, making you believe that only they can understand and accept you. Moreover, toxic individuals are skilled at maintaining a perfect facade in front of others. They might shower you with love, care, and attention when others are around, but when you're alone, they turn, constantly criticizing, belittling, and hurting you. Those around you, deceived by their facade, might even blame you when you complain about them. Gradually, you start to doubt yourself, wondering if you're the problem, and feelings of shame and anxiety keep you trapped in the toxic relationship. Sometimes they might offer you brief moments of happiness, making you believe they've changed and that there's still hope for the relationship. But in reality, it's just a tactic to maintain control and exploit you. They don't want to lose someone they can manipulate, someone to satisfy their selfish needs. People who have experienced emotional trauma, abandonment, or have a vulnerable mindset are particularly susceptible to falling into and struggling to leave toxic relationships. Not blame yourself, believing you're the cause of their suffering and constantly try to make amends. Or you might fear loneliness, believing that if you leave this relationship, you'll find no one else. But your tolerance and fear only empower them to take further advantage of you. According to psychologists, another reason why it's hard to leave a toxic relationship is that you might see familiar traits or behaviors in your partner that remind you of loved ones from your past. You might have experienced kindness or support from them before, making it hard to let go, even when faced with their hurtful actions. Furthermore, the shame and embarrassment of admitting you're in an unhealthy relationship can be a significant barrier, especially for those with high self-esteem. You'd rather endure the pain in silence than expose the situation and risk judgment. Financial dependence on the toxic person is another factor that makes leaving difficult. This could be a child dependent on their parents, a spouse dependent on their partner, or an employee dependent on their boss. The fear of financial instability can lead people to tolerate abuse in order to maintain the relationship. Remember, you're not alone. If you're trapped in a toxic relationship, seek help from family, friends, or a mental health professional. They can help you recognize your self-worth, overcome your fears, and find true freedom and happiness. Because you deserve to be loved and respected, not controlled and hurt. Realizing that there are people you don't want to spend much time with is one thing, but learning how to gracefully distance yourself from toxic relationships is an entirely different story. Before you decide to completely sever a relationship, let's consider the following steps. First, evaluate whether this is the first time they have exhibited negative behavior. Don't rush to conclusions and end a good friendship just because they are going through a tough time. Everyone has moments of feeling down and negative, and that's perfectly normal. Give them time and space to get through this phase instead of hastily cutting off the relationship. Second, try having an honest conversation with them. They might not realize that their attitude is negatively affecting you and those around them. If you value this relationship or have valued it in the past, take the time to explain your feelings and why you want to keep your distance. This could be a wake-up call for them to change and become more positive. Third, stand firm in your decision. Deciding to stay away from negative people might make you feel guilty or drawn into their negative spiral. But remember, protecting your mental health is the most important thing. Don't let guilt or weakness make you continue to endure their negative influence. Fourth, set clear boundaries and protect them. If you cannot avoid contact with the person, such as a colleague or a family member, learn to shield yourself from their negative influence. Decide which conversations you will participate in, and don't hesitate to avoid them when necessary. You have the right to decline participation in negative conversations or activities that do not bring value to you. Finally, don't feel guilty for choosing to protect yourself. No matter the reason behind their negativity, you are not obligated to fix or endure it. You have the right to choose positive relationships for yourself, and while leaving a relationship may make you sad, you do not need to explain or justify your decision. If you feel the need to explain, clearly state that you need to be around positive people to protect your mental health. A true friend will understand and respect your decision and may even strive to change for the better. If they continue to exhibit negativity, it's a clear sign that you are right to distance yourself. Always remember that not everyone deserves a place in your life. Sometimes, protecting your peace and happiness requires the courage to let go of toxic relationships. I hope that the journey of discovering the 10 types of people that Stoic philosophy advises us to avoid has truly opened a new door for you, providing a sharper lens to perceive and understand the relationships around you. Life is a grand canvas, and the companions we choose will help us paint that canvas, not just in the present moment, but throughout the entire journey ahead. Like a gardener carefully selecting the best seeds to plant, we also need to be careful and discerning in choosing the people who will nurture and uplift our spirits. Do not hesitate to bravely prune the withered branches, the negative relationships that are draining your energy and joy. Open your arms wide, welcoming sincere friends and positive souls who share your aspirations to together cultivate a garden of the soul filled with blossoming flowers of happiness. Building and maintaining positive relationships not only helps you create a fulfilling present life, but also sows the seeds of a bright future. Believe that when you value yourself and choose healthy relationships, success and happiness will naturally find their way to you. Sincere and positive friends will always be a great source of motivation, helping you overcome every challenge and difficulty. If you found this video helpful, please share this valuable knowledge with those around you by liking and sharing it. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to not miss out on future content, where we will continue our journey of self-discovery and building a more meaningful life. Thank you for joining me on this path. I wish you peace and happiness always.